What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is going to be a clan boss takeover, guys. We're actually doing it for JRM the Killer, an OG content creator for Raid. I'm not sure if he was doing YouTube as well, but definitely streaming on Twitch. Now, I remember him from back in the day. He kind of like was one of the first person to come up with the HP burn strategy for the Spider Dungeon, right? Back in the day when they released Stage 20. So I'll be linking his link in the pinned comment so you guys can go check him out. Basically, he had his main account hacked like a while ago, and he just raged. He couldn't manage to get his account back, and he didn't really have the right support from Platinum. And a while after, he decided to start another account. He messaged me, Skratch, do me a clan boss team with Urticata and with the meta, okay? So that's what we're going to do in today's video, guys. But before we jump over to talk about all that, if you enjoyed the music you hear in the video, I partner up with Soundstripe. They have an amazing music library, so feel free to check them out. You will be finding the link in the description down below or in the pinned comments. Plus, I can save you a 15% on checkout by using code SKRATCH. Basically, guys, Urticata, right, is a demon spawn champion. What we're building today, think about Meat Fu, right? But think about like Meat Urticata or something like that, right? I haven't really made a guide on this champion at all. I haven't really used her at all. But basically, if you don't have a Fushan to use in a Demeta comp, this is a good champion because you do have a speed aura from it, and she can deal decent amount of damage with her kit. On the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, has a decent chance of increasing the duration of poisons. On the A2, attacks one enemy 3 times, and she lands a poison sensitivity. On the A3, attacks 4 times at random, lands the hex, and the passive whenever either this champion or an ally lands a critical hit on an enemy under a hex debuff, has a 10% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the enemy for 1 turn, 15% speed aura for all battles. The team that we're making today, guys, is gonna work on every single difficulty, and it should work on every single affinity. We might struggle a bit on force affinity, but that depends on what champion we're using as the second DPSer. Since this champion is spirit affinity, it might be a bit tricky to make it work properly. So let me quickly bring up the calculator. That's what we have right here, guys. We have Demeta, we have Urticata, we have Harris, we have Seeker, and Dracomorph. Now, maybe using Dracomorph in this team is not the wisest choice, since Urticata's poisons are only for 1 turn. We might be filling up the poison bar with that and kind of like make Draco miss on some damage. But if you're using Jintoro, if you're using a different champion, is actually gonna be a bit better maybe in terms of damage overall. Now, one thing that you wanna be aware when we're talking about this team right here, guys, these speeds are kind of like at a minimum. I've put them at literally the minimum amount you can actually run and be safe. Now, one problem that you might encounter is Seeker. Seeker needs to be on exactly 195 speed. If you're changing one speed, actually seems like he's working on 194, sorry. So 194 or 195 is the maximum or the minimum speed you can actually have on him. If no, it's not gonna work anymore. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The speeds that we have, guys, on the meta we have 301 speed. We have a 15% speed aura. So the main problem with this team is getting that speed on the meta. 300 speed is not something you're gonna be able to achieve straight off the bat when you start the game. But farming the dragon for a decent amount of time, 1 to 2 months, if you're not very unlucky, you should be able to get to 300 speed, you know. Then we have Harris at 267 plus. If I remember it correctly, she was at 270 on the account. We have Seeker at 195, Dracomorph at 182. Those are the speeds that we have on the champions. I'll show you the builds in a second. The rest of the speeds are pretty straightforward. You can play a bit around with them, but don't go too crazy because you're gonna break the tune, you know. So if you're knocking the speed down on the meta by 1 to 300, is not working anymore. Of course, if you have a different champion instead of Urticata and you want to try it out and you have a speed aura from it, you can do it. But it's kind of like Cardial, you have Fushan, you have Duchess, champions that they don't really bring you much damage next to those two. So Urticata is a decent option. Probably I would say the 3rd or 4th best option that we have in the entire game to use as a speed lead and gain some damage out of it, you know. So it might be a decent 2-key Ultra Nightmare for the majority of you guys out there. Basically, this is a pretty straightforward team. You can start it on full auto. One thing you want to keep in mind, when you're going at the presets, you want to make sure you are prioritizing the skills on the champions, because the AI is dumb. They're not going to follow the right order. So basically, do it like that. On Seeker, you want to have a 1-turn delay if you want to start it on full auto. And here, prioritize the A2 to make sure whenever she has it available, she's going to use it. Because if no, sometimes she just won't cleanse. She won't use the skill when needed. And that's going to throw off the tune. Now, the team will get in sync pretty quick, guys. I think by turn 4, they're already in perfect sync. It's pretty straightforward to set it up. I think I made a video on the mid full like around a month ago. Very similar with that, full auto. It should work on every single affinity as well. The only problem is who is going to be the second DPS. When we're going against Spirit Affinity, Harvest, she's going to be the main stun target because of the affinity, you know, being weak affinity. So we need to have another Force champion as the DPS to make sure that champion is getting the stun. If not, it's not going to work with this format. So think about a different champion that's Force affinity that can be used against that specific one. The rest, it should be fine. Like Dracomorph can be replaced by Furkin the Fat, can be replaced by Fane, can be replaced pretty much by any other champion that doesn't increases turn meter or does anything crazy like that. You can use even a Balanor, for example, run a couple of Toxic sets, and like that, you're going to have less crit rate on your builds, and he's going to give you the crit rate. There are many different options out there. Turvold could be a different option, for example. It really depends on what champions you have available. But the main idea is not to actually show you a guide on the team. It's mainly to see how is Urticata doing in Clan Boss. What sort of performance we're actually getting from her, you know? I'm curious to see what damage she does. I tried to look online to see her multipliers, but they were kind of like average, pretty low in my opinion. So I'm not expecting her to hit extremely hard. But let's have a quick look. 37k, 3743. That was with the A2. I feel like A1, A2, A3, they pretty much have the exact same multipliers, you know? 39k, 47. So it's not insane damage out of the hits. Mainly we're relying to see on the passive. The chances are pretty low to land the poison. But it's still something better than nothing if you don't have any options. And she's not only going to be able to help you in this specific team with the speed lead for the Clan Boss, guys. You can use her in different teams where you need to have a bit of extra speed for your team, you know, and give them more damage, and it's gonna work just fine. But that's it pretty much, guys. I'm gonna fast forward from here till the end to see the damage, the total result, and then I'm gonna show you the builds on the champions. And here we are, guys, near the end. Turn 48, 75 million damage. Now, how I specified, Draco might not be the right combo with Urticata in this team. And one thing that I should change once we're gonna get to the builds is the Masteries on Urticata. And I'm gonna explain you why once all this ends and we're gonna be able to see the damage and stuff. We lost damage because of a couple of things that I noticed here. So 76.93 million damage. Urticata actually has 21 million damage. Very, very impressive actually. Dracomorph 29.9. So 30 million damage. That's literally the closest I've ever seen. 29,999,699. How crazy is that, right? Demita 5.7, Seeker 10.7, Harris 9.3. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this is not my account. The gear is not crazy. So I'm actually going to be able to show you some more affordable builds to call it like that. But basically, if I would use a Jintoro or a different champion that doesn't bring in as many poisons as Dracomorph, will actually be better. Like some turns, because I paid attention this time around, during some turns, he wasn't able to land defense down and weaken because the poison bar was full. We had too many poisons that they were there for one turn, and that made us lose poisons that they were meant to go for a longer duration. So I feel like a different champion instead of Dracomorph will definitely be a much better pair with Urticata, for example, you know. That being said, let's have a quick look at the champions, guys, and see their builds. So we only have one legendary in here, so let's have a quick look at Dracomorph. He's not on Relentless, he's on 2 speed sets and a broken set. Total stats on him, 4.7k attack, 182 speed, full crit rate, 267 crit damage, 249 accuracy. Masteries, you want to get deterrence, guys, because the counter attacks that we're gonna get are all from deterrence. The more accessories you have from the clan shop, the counter attack ones, the better. Because with block damage, you're not gonna be able to counter attack with retribution. Just one thing to keep in mind. Tier 6 War Master, of course. If we're gonna go lower a bit, we're gonna start with Seeker. We're not gonna go in speeds order because I'm gonna link you the calculator link in the pinned comments. So this is Seeker, same masteries like on Dracomorph. And total stats on Seeker, we have 3.3k attack, 195 speed, 90 crit rate, 233 crit damage. If we're moving over to Urticata, we have her on Perception. We have a couple of crit damage sets. Total stats on her, 24k HP, 4k attack, 201 speed, 98 crit rate, 278 crit damage, 260 accuracy. Now, in terms of masteries for her, guys, I actually went with Giant Slayer. And I went with defense, with the defense 3. I kind of forgot that she's not really going to get to counter attack because she's always going to be the stun, you know. So I'm actually going to change that. And I'm going to go in a different way. We're actually going to go all the way here. We're even going to take Cycle of Magic, you know. But the main thing you want to do is have Sniper, have Master Hexer, you know. So if we're going on the masteries like that, we should be more than fine. Now, I don't want to get Lord of Steel on her because I'm thinking to make sure it's not gonna affect anything on the speeds, you know. So we're gonna go in the same way we've been before. Giant Slayer again, and Lord of Steel is not really gonna increase much. We're gonna get a bit of like extra crit damage, but we're fine like this. Better safe than sorry, basically, you know. So we changed the masteries now. This is kind of like what I would suggest you, just because we want to have a higher chance to land the poisons, you know, and maybe a chance to have them for more than one turn on the boss, you know. That's Urticata right here. You see the builds are decent, but it's not something that is out of this world, you know. If we're gonna go all the way here, Harris, she's on 3 speed sets, total stats 29k HP, 3.1k attack, 270 speed, 91 crit rate, 156 crit damage. In terms of masteries, we have offense and support 3. Can go down like that. Tier 6 War Master. You want to make sure you're getting Steadfast on her because you want to make sure you're avoiding the stun on this champion, you know. She doesn't need to have a counter attack from masteries because the passive always counter attacks. She could be good on a Toxic set, for example, because she always counter attacks. If you're having crit rate on your champions, you have higher chances of landing poisons because of Urticata's passive. And actually, I gotta say, I am pretty impressed with her performance in Clan Boss. I didn't expect her to be as decent as she is, honestly. And we have Demita, 302 speed, 96 crit rate, 182 crit damage. This is kind of like the hardest thing to achieve, the speed on Demita. We have 2 counter-attack accessories on her as well. And masteries, the same like Seeker, same like Dracomorph. We have tier 6 War Master. But guys, that was all for this video. These are the builds on the champions. You're gonna find the link from the calculator in the pinned comments. Let me know, what do you think of Urticata? She's actually pretty interesting. So definitely, if you need a champion for Clan Boss, you need a speed aura, you need something a bit different, consider in building her and use her. That was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.